I think what you're trying to ask is why am I so insistent upon giving out to them that blackness, that black power, that black pushing them to identify with black culture. I think that's what you're asking. I have no choice over it. In the first place, to me, we are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people. I mean that in every sense, outside and inside. And to me, we have a culture that is surpassed by no other civilization, but we don't know anything about it. So again, I think I've said this before in this same interview, I think at some time before, my job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary.
Oh, peace and love, and welcome to Black Press USA's morning show, where we bring you the headlines, trending topics, and of course the culture. I'm so excited this morning. Our special guest co-host is none other than Jeff Gill, who is just somebody that has been a voice in the streets of LA for many years. He has worked with Kathy Hughes' radio station, I believe, Stevie Wonder's radio station, and he's worked at KPFK, which is talk radio, or KPFK, which is
KPFK.
KPFK. Welcome, Jeff Gill. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Good. Man, hey, thank you for having me on. You know, I'm just a guy that just likes to talk, and I'm here to listen, and I'm a fan of yours. So I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate it. So we always start the morning with a morning video. And of course, since we're celebrating 100 years of Black history, our producer Greer started us off with the great voice and, advocate Nina Simone. Any thoughts or feedback from what you saw?
You know what? It's just a sense of pride that you have. When you see the intelligence, when you see the ability to orate, to just put it all in perspective and talk about things that are real, because I don't think we do it enough, and I encourage everybody I come in contact to just be able to speak about how you feel without getting angry, without being over the top. Like so many people now have opinions about things, and if that was today, it would have a little more stank on it, a little more edge on it. But seeing those people, that's a great example of how to communicate. Right?
It's so funny because you said that, because a couple weeks, the reason why Jeff is here, because he called me a couple weeks ago, and he was just frustrated with everything that was happening in the world. He was like, Neo, I got something to say.
Every day it was something. When I called you, it was almost like, what's going to happen today? It was every day there was some new experience that happened that was, detrimental to our community. There was some new law that got passed. There was somebody that was getting picked up by ICE. There was some, future thing that I was talking about, what's going on with TPS for Haitian immigrants, for Jamaican immigrants, and everything was focused on our community. And it had me a little hot, and like I said, I don't think that we all are going to be in the streets for the fight, but we have to use what we have. And, this career in radio and communicating, I think that's my lane. Right. So.
All right. Well, let's get to it, because we all fit. I've done a little analysis on the Let It Be Known Black Press USA morning show viewers and listeners, and everybody's pretty much in the Gen X category, right? I'm Gen X. Are you Gen X?
Hey, you know what? If I'm not, I will lie and say I am.
So yeah.
No, I am.
So most of it is where, Gen X. And so our morning poll, we've started a morning poll, and so we're going to get to it. So here's the morning poll. Gen X is between 46 and 61. So tap in the chat and let us know if you're part of the Gen X generation. So, Jeff, did you know that we are known as the sandwich generation?
You know, I've heard that before.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to say that's because we went inside with latchkey kids. We were latchkey kids. We let ourselves in the house, and when it was time to eat, you had to just go make yourself a sandwich, and you were good at
Okay. Okay. Well,
it.
okay.
Okay,
I mean, hey, if
okay.
that's what you think. But let me tell you.
And just for the record,
Okay.
I barely made Gen X. I'm right on the edge in the front. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good for
Yeah.
you. Okay. Good for you. You're with us then. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is why it's called the sandwich generation. It's because we're in between the baby boomers and the millennials, meaning that we were without technology. We grew up in a lifestyle without technology,
Mhm.
and we are part of the generation that helped make technology what it is today. Social media, the internet, and all in between. And so here is the morning poll for the Gen Xers, right? Wait, Patricia says sandwiches, right? Raising kids and caring for aging people. Oh, you're gonna love this poll, okay? Miss Helena says I'm 74 years old, a baby boomer. Okay, we got a baby boomer in the house. Gen X, Gen X. Okay,
Mhm.
see, my
Mhm.
assessment was pretty right. We got something for the baby boomers too, because we the ones with the sense, Miss Helen. Okay, so here's the poll. Gen X is currently holding up the ceiling for our kids and the floor for our parents. Where is the most pressure hitting your wallet today? Is it A, the grocery store and receipts? Is it B, aging parents, healthcare and medication? Is it C, supporting adult children who can't find a house and
Wow.
trying to save enough to actually retire one day? All right, put in the chat which one applies to you.
Man, there's gonna be a lot of A's, B's, C's, and D's. That's all I know. Hey, it's gonna be over the top.
Well, for me, it's like my mother is still, she's taking care, and her sisters are taking care of my grandmother, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm going to go with D, trying to save enough actually to retire one day because I don't have children. So I think I fall in the D range. How about you?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say C, supporting children who can't find a house. And I'm in real estate, so being a real estate broker now since my radio days, I've added that to my new career. Man, this stuff is expensive out here. Okay, $3,500 to rent a two-bedroom in Los Angeles, or if you want a simple apartment, it's $2,000. So it's like, why would I have my child, who's an adult, go out and do that? Why don't you just go ahead and stay here at the house, save your money, save your money, and let's get you something, buy something so you can be a homeowner. So that's a big one for me. And the groceries, man, hey, Super Bowl was $250 over here,
Mm.
and all we
Per
got is
person, right? Per
hey, hey,
person, right?
hey, come on, man. It's off the chain. So we have to make more money. That's what it comes down to.
All right.
Don't
So
even
let's
talk about healthcare. Come on.
Okay. So was that no that yeah, well, aging parents, healthcare, and medications. All right. So let's go to the chat and see what's happening. So Lady Leo says she's Gen X. Sandra Jones says she's baby boomer. Say it loud. I'm here and I'm proud. I love it. Claudette Perry says not everyone. Baby boomers are here too. Proud of the Gen X and millennials and the rest. Okay. Dr. Marilyn, I think she says she's a Gen Xer, and she says she's a proud latchkey kid,
Hmm.
and she
Hmm.
says D for her, which is retirement. Orange G says at 51 years of age, my generation has failed to teach the next generation the keys to survive a hardship and understanding the vote. And
Hmm.
then ND Rangu says, are you planning to help? I don't know what that means. But so people continue to chime in. The poll question is, Greer, if you want to put it back on the screen, it's a lot to read, but it's talking to the Gen X. And what pressures are hitting your wallet today? Is it the grocery shopping? Is it the aging parents and healthcare? Is it supporting adult children who can't find a house? Or is it just trying to save up to retire? Because they did raise the retirement age too, right?
Yeah, they kicked it up just a little bit because if you retire early, like at 62, you're not getting all your money. And if you're healthy, and you can live until 67, to get your full retirement, yeah, you got to make sure that that it's worth it for you. So everybody's going to fit in someplace different. But one of the comments was talking about they all want to be a sandwich. She went from having a deal with a daughter who thinks that she's her mother now, so she's telling her what to do. I'm looking at that. That came from Helen Brown.
Okay. So we're finding out that we're a mixture of Gen Xers and baby boomers. Okay, so we have identified that this morning, and it is so noted. Okay, it was a big weekend in sports.
Wow.
I mean, the Olympics, the Super Bowl, and then planning for the WNBA All-Star. It was a lot of basketball games going on too. I think the Lakers played the Warriors Saturday.
Yeah. They whooped them good. Yeah, the Lakers.
Who
man.
whooped who? Who whooped who?
Hey, come on now. Come on. This is LA. Come on now. The Lakers whooped the Warriors. And the Lakers look good. I don't know if they have a shot to win it all, but we love to have a win in Los Angeles, especially with everything else that's going on. When your team wins, it feels good. Was your team in the Super Bowl though?
My team? No, I really don't have a team. But I was rooting for Bad Bunny. So I was there for Bad Bunny. And so, let's talk about it. Seattle Seahawks beat the New England Patriots. What was the score? Do you remember the score?
You know what? I clicked off. It was 29-13, I believe.
There you have it.
It was defensive mastery. It was, I'm bigger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm stronger than you. We're better coached than you. And they did what they were supposed to do. I think everybody thought the Birds were going to take it, and they did. They did. It was easy.
I mean, I think, if we look at our nation and we look at the owners, Robert Kraft, of course, he's a huge friend of Donald Trump. He donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural celebration. And then you have Jody Allen, the owner of the Seahawks, who no contribution to Donald Trump, philanthropic endeavors. And so hopefully a lot of people were saying, I hope this is a sign of trajectory of our nation. Let's move towards the Seahawks instead of the Patriots.
Well, you know what? It seemed like this year, and I made a post on my social media that we had this battle over the halftime show. It was Bad Bunny versus Kid Rock, and everybody seemed to be well, I'm not going to say everybody, but I'll just say America was divided about which one. Now, we've had some great halftime shows. I can think back of Prince, Michael Jackson. I could think of who was the guy?
Say Bruno Mars.
Yeah. I mean, we can go down
Jackson,
the list. We've had
Madonna.
We've had the Rolling Stones, right? So I'm still a rock fan. I like all kinds of music, and we have people from other countries come over. We got people from England, people from other places. We got a guy from Puerto Rico. All of a sudden, everybody's up in arms because Bad Bunny's from Puerto Rico, but that's the United States. And
right.
Whether you're a fan or not, I take issue with all the hate that came up to the point where they had to have another show. Did anybody watch the other show? Looks like 130 million to 5.3.
Well, here's the thing. When we look at America, one of the big pushes from Bad Bunny's performance was love conquers hate, right? And so, when you look at that, Bad Bunny, 130 million. I mean, and that's across all gamuts. We're talking about not just television, not just streaming, but of course, social media and all the above. 130 million to what you mentioned, Kid Rock, 5.3. So that shows you, where the world is, not just America, because, Super Bowl was watched around the world.
Worldwide.
The world responded to love instead of hate.
And that's what the world needs. We need more love, but hey, it is what it is right now. But I mean, that proves that the people's voice has spoken. And we know what the people want, and we know what it is, and we're going to have it one day because we're going to speak that into reality, and we just did it right here. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about a couple more highlights from the Super Bowl. The Epstein survivors commercial. It aired during the Super Bowl, calling attention for truth and accountability. You saw some of the victims with black tape over their mouth in reference to feel like they're being silenced. Did you see the commercial, and what was your response? Chat, chime in as well.
You know, that whole thing is very sad. It is it is appalling that
Hmm.
they have to have a commercial just to get their cause recognized. And if you're a child molester, you're a child molester. If you did it, you did it. Why are you, you know, if you're in the White House and you did it, you're still guilty. And we know this. And no matter what you say to deflect and turn, it's not going to work. We saw you. Don't you know we can see you? And
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of those things. Our eyes don't lie, and our voices are hearing so many women speaking out for their rights and fighting, just for justice, and it pains me.
yeah, I'm glad that they, and the more strength that they have, the
Hmm.
more hopefully they will begin to say. And this isn't going away no matter how many, deflections that Donald Trump, and the sad part about it is people have to lose their lives because Donald Trump doesn't want the truth come out.
Hmm. Hmm.
All of these things are happening in our nation aren't just because he wants the oil in Venezuela, not just because he wants ICE. That's part of it, but part of it too is deflection because he knows,
Hmm.
that those Epstein files are a part of his history. As we talk about American history and Black history, guess what? The Epstein files are a part of Donald Trump's
And
history.
we're not forgetting about it. You can deflect all you want to, but it's on him. That stank
Yeah.
is on him, and everybody knows it.
All right. And so that was the part. So the Super Bowl was political, in a lot of ways. But, we have to give love and celebration to our darling Coco Jones, who sung the
Oof,
National Negro Anthem. I
face.
mean, she gave us a little nostalgia of Whitney. She had on custom Carl
Hmm.
Kanai,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
she hit every note so beautifully, and just the flat, the black, the
Yeah,
green,
yeah. She
and the
didn't.
red.
She didn't miss a note, and I'm gonna be honest here. Maybe I get some heat in the chat. The song, I know what it stands for, but musically, as a musician, it has never been my favorite song to hear until Coco Jones lit it up yesterday.
Are you
She
kidding me?
No, she hit every note. I've heard people try to sing it that, at little events where it's just not as well produced. Let's just say that. But
Okay.
the way yeah, it's just from that standpoint of the performance. It's not an easy song to sing. Any singer will tell
Hmm.
you that. She
Hmm.
took that song and made it, man, with the strings behind her, the way she looked, the way she dressed, just everything that was around her made that song special. I was telling everybody at my house, like, listen to this, record
Right.
that, rewind that. So Coco Jones, we love you. We appreciate that.
She understood the assignment, and
Yes, she did.
I got
She met the moment.
chills. Yes, I got chills. I mean, in every way, from fashion to
Hmm.
vocals, even
Hmm.
the violinist in the back had
Hmm.
on similar. It was all choreographed well. And I think it spoke to the moment. And so that moment was for us. And then we got to the halftime show, and that spoke to ICE. I think that performance was specifically for ICE. Okay.
Well, they need to be spoken to. They need to feel this. And Bad Bunny, man, he's obviously, when so many people love something, so many people show up for something, it can't be all bad, right? So for the people that don't understand Spanish, I mean, I speak a little bit of Spanish. Como está? Bien y tú? Hey, good morning. Hey, I understand why they love him, and there's some songs that I love, but he had to go and make this statement. I said it before. He's an American. This is what America looks like. This is his flag.
Right.
Don't set trip on my flag. This is my flag too. So
Right. No,
so that's the message that they sent out there, and with so much that has happened with this ICE revolution that's going on, he let everybody know that this will be over at some point.
at some point, and this is their country too. I love just all the references from the Iceman to the Taco
Hmm.
Man.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just that was a real wedding. If you didn't know, folks, the wedding on stage was a real wedding. They had their reception at the Super Bowl. I thought that was pretty cool. You saw Ricky Martin perform with him,
Yeah.
as
Yep.
well as Lady Gaga. And a lot of the people in the stands though had a problem because we saw it on TV. We got an experience. We got a production. All they saw was bushes. In the stands, all people saw was bushes.
You paid $10,000 for a seat and you can't see the halftime show.
You can't, because they were running through all the greenery, which was half of it was actual humans. So it was, it was actual humans dressed in grass, but the some of the people in the audience couldn't see because they were in a maze.
Well, you're at the Super Bowl. You gotta win.
Cardi cameo. We saw. Remember the Cardi cameo? She was in there in the back when they first opened up. That was cool. I thought she was going to do something, but there was Lady Gaga, but it was cool.
But no, yeah, it was. So he actually, to Greer's point, he had a lot of high celebrities in that scene. Jessica Alba was in it. Of course, we mentioned Cardi B, and so there was something personal, a personal touch about everything in his performance, and it spoke to the times. Just like if we look at last year, Kendrick Lamar, his performance spoke to the times. And so what you saw was Rock Nation for the past 2 years produce halftime shows that speak to the current climate of our nation. You have to give hats off to Jay-Z, as well as Jesse Collins in his production. Jesse Collins produces the BET Awards, the Emmys, the Grammys. Him and his wife, Dion, is that his wife or his girlfriend? They are a dynamic duo, and they're producing any cultural mega production in this country. So hats off to them as well.
You say mega or MAGA? A mega production.
Mega.
let's say mega. Yeah, you said mega.
I'm sorry, mega. Thank you for that. We have some comments in the chat. We have from Nancy Wall, the truth is already out. They haven't arrested anyone for it. The stank is definitely on him. Mike V says, don't forget about the files in Mar-a-Lago as well. That is true. Dr. Marilyn says, yes, Coco. Nancy Wall says, Coco slayed it. Orange G says, I don't care about the halftime show. Our people still didn't get Kendrick's message. 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. Okay. Dr. Marilyn says, really, real wedding? That was awesome. Yes, it was a real wedding. And they had their reception full frontal at the Super Bowl. I thought that was super cool. Claudette Perry says, the truth has come out. Photos don't lie. MAGAs have always been MAGAs and have always blamed others for their condition rather than blame the abuser they voted for. Blame the immigrants, blame the blacks, blame the Muslims and everyone else except themselves. And she says, great show. Great shows. Thank you. And so one person felt like what's happening next year, and that's Chris Brown, because he did post, I think it's safe to say, they need me.
They've been needing Chris Brown. Let's just say that. They have been needing Chris Brown. They tried to put some stuff on Chris, had his little issues back in the day, and that is not held him down. It's given him fuel. It's given him energy to get out there and be the best talent that he is. Man, there's nobody messing with him. Nobody messing with Chris. And it's time that he's had his day, and that's my nomination for next year's Super Bowl halftime show, Chris Brown's.
I think that would be amazing. Would be amazing. Now, Jay-Z wasn't hiding either. He was out and about. He had a luncheon. He had a brunch. And so he had his kids on the field yesterday, Rumi and Blue Ivy. They took their annual jump in the air picture on the field. So Jay-Z was out and about. And then Deion Sanders, he said something interesting on one of the podcasts during Super Bowl weekend. And he appeared on First Take. And he said he would not coach with the NFL if asked whatsoever. So, I mean, and he said, did you see how they did my son last year?
And they've been all up on top of his son, undue pressure, all of this. And I think it just comes back to the same hate, the same issue that we're dealing with. I mean, this young man is starting his career out. He doesn't need to have all that coming on him. He jumps over the bar, they raise the bar higher. And no matter what he does, he can't catch a break. But that talent is there. And I don't blame Deion for what he's saying. You know, I wouldn't want to work for your organization because I know how you feel about me.
Right. Yeah, I would love to see Deanna as an NFL. I love the progression of, HBCU, PWI, now NFL. But at the same time, I totally understand what he means.
No, you know, it is what it is. They've already said what they had to say. This pressure that they're putting on him, he's just going to continue to elevate. That's the way I look at it.
All right, so continue to put your favorite moments from the Super Bowl in the chat. Let's hop over to the Olympics. Now, it was a lot going on with the opening, and like we say, it was a lot of politics involved in the opening. Thousands of people were protesting, clashing with police, condemning Israel's participation and the presence of ICE agents with U.S. delegation. It was so bad that the U.S. Delegation had to change one of their hospitality houses from an ice house. They had to change it to the winter house.
Hey, look, I mean, protest is protest, right? So, you know, it's like Tommy Smith and John Carlos at the Olympics with their fists in the air. You know, it's a time, it's your platform. It's your chance to speak if you're an athlete, but social media is here and everyone's taking pictures. Everyone's got video at the Olympics. So this is what we want you to see because we don't agree. And it's time for people to listen and change the tone that they're putting at these events. You're going to send ICE to the Super Bowl. You're going to send, people over to the Olympics or what is it, World Cup. You're making all these plans, what you're going to do. That's not the tone that the people want. People don't want that. We want ICE out, just like the sign says. And what happened in Gaza is a disgrace, and people are upset about that. So, I stand with them from this microphone where I'm sitting right now with you. So hey, our voices are needed. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. You are too.
All right. Another key moment coming out of the Olympics is J.D. Vance was booed everywhere he went. Okay, he couldn't catch a break. Everywhere he went, every game, every competition, boo. Boo.
I thought that was his first name. Boo J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance boo, however you want to do it. Man, this is the same guy who was denouncing the man that's his president, right? Just years ago, saying that he was unfit to be in the office. He was this, he was that. I mean, come on. You turncoat sucker. You turned around, and now you're in the office, and now he's my man. He's my man. You his biggest cheerleader. We don't believe you with your eyeliner.
Okay. His wife didn't look like she appreciated the boos though, and she has a lot going on because she's pregnant, so she has to protect her just mental health and her. So all that stress she don't need from him and what he's doing. But hey, that's her husband.
Get a new man.
All right, let's talk about some other highlights. So I thought this was interesting. Winter Olympics in 1924 only had 4.3% of women. Wow. Today in 2026 is 47%.
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty cool statistic. And another Black history moment for us, y'all. Erin Jackson made history as the team U.S. flag bearer for the 2026 Winter Olympics. So she represented a Black woman coming out the back carrying the flag.
Hey, progress. We did that.
And so our Olympic team wore Ralph Lauren, traditional American. Ralph Lauren is as American flag as you can get. But the biggest talk of the town for outfits and costumes coming out of the Olympics is Haiti. Okay. Yeah. And they made the headlines as a top contender for best Olympic uniforms because of their design. And the painting and the historical references. Those costumes were gorgeous. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I saw it. I had a chance to look at it. I mean, hey, I'm not going to wear something like that myself, right? but I appreciate.
In the snow, you might.
Well, in the snow, I might. But I mean, hey, look, they took the moment and did something special with it, right? It's just like the national anthem. I mean, they took the moment and did what they had to do to represent the culture, and to be able to be in the Winter Olympics from Jamaica. I mean, last time I checked, there's no winter in Jamaica, right? So
that's
what they
that's the Haiti. That's the Haiti.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's the Haiti we're looking at right now. Okay. That Haiti stuff is fly. That's I'll wear that. Hey, I'll put on that winter stuff right there. Absolutely.
Okay. I'll be down the slope in a minute.
Hey, send one the extra medium over here for me. So. But yeah, to be able to represent like, the way that they're doing, because, to be able to train for this stuff, the dedication that they put into it, so they deserve to have that recognition. I'm glad they got it.
And to see, Haiti, what makes, you brought up Jamaica, but what makes Haiti and Jamaica and countries like that so unique in the Winter Olympics? They're not around snow.
No.
They're in Caribbean regions, soaking up the sun. And so for them to be able to compete in Winter Olympics, I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Because, we don't like cold. We're not built for cold. We're built for warm places. That's what they say. Right. But hey, we'll see. Hopefully they will do well and bring home a medal.
Yeah,
that's what I'm rooting for.
And speaking of medals, congratulations to the U.S. skating team who took home the gold for team, not individuals, but teams. So the U.S. skating team, figure skating to be exact, they brought home the gold yesterday, and I had a chance to watch some of that, and I loved it. It was beautiful. I was rooting for Italy. They were just the joy in them being the host country. That was good. But there's our team, and they brought home the gold. And a couple, the female figure skater, she's catching hell, and she had to deactivate her social media because she spoke out against the Trump regime, and so now she's getting death threats as she is competing and representing this country. And a lot of the athletes are saying, no, I don't agree with what's happening in our country, but I'm also proud to represent our country. And so you have a lot of that happening as well.
Shameful. You should be able to speak your mind, right? That's free speech. That's the First Amendment, and that's under attack. All of the amendments are under attack right now. 1, 2, 4, and we need to start using 25. That's my word.
So we're going to keep you informed about what's happening in the Olympics. Just so you know, we talked about Erin Jackson a little earlier, but she competes today at 11:30 Eastern time for the speed skating women's 100. Black woman prepared to make history. So you can check that out. That's 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. So what is that? 8:30 our time?
That's 8:30 our time.
Yes, 8:30
West Coast
time. Yep. There you go. So check it out. So let's hop into a couple more headlines before we get to our guest, which these are critical. Governor Wes Moore has responded after Donald Trump appeared to have uninvited him for a bipartisan, this is typical happening, National Governors Association dinner that Trump hosts. Moore said that his status as the only sitting Black governor in the United States made the inclusion worse. He called the decision by Trump a blatant disrespect and a snub to the spirit of bipartisan federal-state partnership.
Yeah, but who's surprised? Is there anybody that's surprised in the chat? Are you surprised? Nothing's going to surprise us anymore about this administration and their obvious racist tone that they've taken with everybody. I mean, we're going to talk about, Tim Scott. We're going to talk about, Barack Obama, the Obamas, and what was done to them. So I'm not surprised by it, but, once you step out and do stuff like this, it sets the table because you reap what you sow at some point, and it's coming back.
But here's the question. So it's also being reported that there will be no Democrats included in this dinner, Republicans only. So if it's Republican only, is it still racial or is it just party?
Well, hey, it's part of the mission, right? So if you read Projects 2025, and I encourage people to go back and read it. I actually got to 100 pages. There are 900 pages, and they're unveiling, a new item off the top of that thing almost every day. Okay, so the battle lines have been drawn. It's Democrats against quote unquote Republicans, and the Democrats seem to represent the people, or at least that's what they say. None of us. Hey, you can't call me a liberal. You can't call me this. You can't call me that. I'm an American citizen, and these are the things I want that meet what I want. Right? I think everybody feels that way, but they're lumping everybody into this gang or that gang.
Right.
Blue versus red. So that's what it's about, and it too shall fail.
Right. The chat is chatting. Mike V says Obama said, "Don't boo, vote." I think he was talking about when the people were booing J.D. Vance. RNG said Haiti wasn't allowed to wear the image of Toussaint. I can't pronounce that name. I'm sorry. And I believe France shouldn't be allowed to fly their own flag. That French flag was used to colonize Haiti. Nancy Wall said that's why you must work around them the best you can. And then Mike V says, where's our Project 2028, Neil? I am asking the Democrats in the Congressional Black Caucus the same thing, Mike V.
What's up?
What are we waiting for?
What are we doing? What are we doing? Hey, we can write a bill. We can change it so this stuff never happens again.
I'm asking the same question, Mike V. So before we get to our first guest, there's one more story that you brought up. So before we left on Friday, we didn't talk about this story because it was just breaking. And I'm talking about the depiction of the Obamas as monkeys or apes in a video that the president of the United States posted, early Friday morning. Well, Tim Scott is speaking up saying Trump's post depicting the Obama as apes. He spoke up and he said, it's the most racist thing I've ever seen from the White House. He said he asked the president to delete the post. And Trump did delete the post, but thoughts?
Now he wants to speak up. Now he's got something to say. He's standing up there looking like one of the Cosby kids. So he finally, jumped up.
We're not claiming him as no Cosby kid.
No, I'm saying everybody clowns him because he does that. That's just what it is, okay? But he finally decided to speak up. But here's the thing that you miss. Listen to me. He said it's the most racist thing that he's seen them do. That means he's seen a lot of racist stuff that they've done, and he didn't say nothing. He said this is the most racist thing that they did. He didn't say this is racist, take it down, which means he's been standing there bearing witness to this over and over again, and he's been complicit. So Tim Scott, continue. Let's see what you're going to come with next. Keep coming with it, brother. Because
encourage him. I see you encourage him. Encourage him to do better. When you know better, you do better. Do better, Tim Scott.
He got to do better.
All right. He got to do better. Mike V says it's pronounced Louverture, Niel. So Toussaint Louverture. Okay, there we go. Dr. Marilyn says he is talking about the Cosby cartoon. LOL. Okay, I got it. And David Youngblood.
I'm Gen X.
Okay, I didn't watch the Cosby cartoon.
I'm Gen X.
I was watching the Smurfs and ABC Schoolhouse Rock. I was watching that though.
Yeah.
David Youngblood says the depiction was in line with his character, and Tim Scott is delusional if he says this racist post was the post that caused him a problem. All right, so two people, let's head to Chicago, where two people were shot and killed in their vehicle on Chicago's South Side last Wednesday afternoon. Now, this video is going viral, and I just want to warn you, it is very graphic. Greer, can we take a look?
My God.
And so I saw that video I saw on community activist, entrepreneur out of Chicago, Jamal Green. We've had him on the show before. Let's bring him in, Green. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're good. How is Chicago?
Chicago is rough. You know, Chicago is in a truly a state of emergency and have been for a while. In Chicago, when violence and everything is going rampant in the communities, what you have is you just have the politicians and different things that cloud up media, and they treat this like it's a normal day. So unfortunately, we've always been in a state of emergency, and they just try our best not to allow us to focus on it, while human lives are constantly being killed in the streets each and every day. So, you know, it's rough to see our people in this city, you know, live how they do. It's rough to see our people living in these communities without the support and resources they deserve. Black people are doing the worst in Chicago than majority of the country. They put out a report saying that, you know, I believe last year. So, you know, people don't understand what's truly going on in Chicago unless you really come see how terrible Black folks are doing in every department.
So we're talking to Jamal Green. He spent a decade on the front lines fighting for the soul of Chicago. More than a decade. Well, decades. We'll say decades. Fighting for the soul of Chicago, from leading marches as a teenager to running for mayor. Yes, he ran for mayor in Chicago. And you've never wavered on your push for accountability, even though sometimes you're against what the masses of Black folks are saying they want out of leadership. You have been pushing the needle. So what has been the mayor's response to what happened to this young couple?
Well, the current mayor never has a response to this. This is the one viral moment where he decided to show up to say two words the next day. And my issue is that when it's ICE or when it's Trump, we put so much attention on it. It's an immediate press conference. It's an immediate, hey y'all, we protesting tonight. You know, like whenever there's a political agenda at play, we ready to go. The politicians ready to go. They putting out statements. They on national news. But when Black death and Black blood is in the streets several times a day, a person in Chicago is shot every 5 hours and I'm sorry, killed every 5 hours and some change, you know. So you know, the fact that we are in this position where, you know, Black blood is just, you know, a normal day in the streets, when Black blood is in the streets, I mean, it's sickening. So no, the response hasn't, you know, he'll respond to the one viral moment like this, but please remember, there's been several Black women that have been killed, several Black mothers that have been killed over the last couple weeks. We just had a mother in Woodlawn a couple weeks ago who was going heading out for church and was killed. And 5 children were left behind, and she laid in the alley for 10 hours, in which the two doors down, the neighbor said that they called the police when they heard the gunshots, and the police said, "Oh, we went over there and we didn't hear nothing." Then they looked at the cameras in the alley and didn't see a police car ever come down one time. 10 hours, this young 36-year-old mother laid in the alley and died while her 5 kids are in the house. And I think nobody's talking about that. It's not going to get to national news, you know, so it's just unfortunate. Truly, 100 and almost, I believe 161 people shot this year so far, and about 41, 42 killed. And we're only what, February 8th.
You know, my question may be obvious, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You know, you've been out in the streets and just witnessing all this stuff. If you could pinpoint a cause for the violence in our community, what would that be?
Well, there's a lot. Chicago is totally different than other cities when you want to talk about violence, which is why we have the highest raw murders every single year. But in Chicago, you have, a big piece of it is the culture. Big piece of it is economics. Culture and economics is probably the huge driving factors. We are literally in neighborhoods that have, never been invested in. When they knocked down the project buildings many years ago and gave Black people vouchers and pushed them out into the communities, those communities that they went to were never invested in after that, right? So you had a lack of grocery stores. You had a lack of great schools. Those schools are the worst performing schools in the city. They took trade out of the schools, so there's no opportunity for young people. Economic development or even teaching economics or financial literacy is not there, right? So you have all of these different issues, mental health issues. We can go down the line on truly the issues that are happening in communities in regards to economics and culture. But the issue is that leaders are truly in position and they are allowing or really have a plan to continue this. Why? Is because Black death is $1 billion industry. There's a lot of people that benefit when Black people are constantly dying. There's a lot of people that are getting rich, and there's also always votes that come out for a candidate that says they're going to clean it up, right? So, unfortunately, Black death is a hustle in Chicago for a lot of the leaders in power. It is unfortunate to see, but it is just the absolute truth.
We thought this conversation was important to have because we see what's happening with ICE. And like you say, like what's happening in our Black communities across the country is not being talked about as much as it was in the past because of what's happening. What are your thoughts on the federal government pushing all of their resources on immigration detention centers and picking up, brown people predominantly, and not having any conversations with, situations like this in our country? Do you think the federal government is doing the Black community an injustice right now?
I think the federal government has always done our community an injustice. We had the first Black president who was from Chicago, and he never spoke about it or did anything either. So, let's just understand that. Also understand that Illinois and Chicago, we operate like a dictatorship, and that's why with the dailies really created it like that. That's why we are always the powerful voice in media around the country, because there's no checks and balances on the leaders in power here. As Chicago mayor, you're a dictator. There's no checks and balances. You can't be recalled. You can't be taken out the seat if you do something wrong. And you have full a dictatorial governance over all of the money. And so all $28 billion every year, you get to dictate how you want. No one can tell you where to give the money to. So the point is that Illinois and Chicago is just a little bit different. We have to allow the federal government to come in, but we also haven't had a leader that truly cared to come in. And so it's not just Trump. It's every Democratic president in modern history. And they all focused on their own federal agenda, which is why Black Lives Matter, even at that time, was created under the Obamas to fight Obama's DOJ. I was there. So, it was after Eric Garner. Erica Garner was my best friend. You know what I'm saying? So we know if we look at federal time and federal government, they had their own agendas, and it never was local government. So would I like federal government to support in certain things, whether it's ATF, whether it's helping to keep guns, switches and illegal guns off the streets, things of that sort? Yes. But the reality is our local government must do their actual part to address these issues. And they just aren't, because it is not a priority for them.
Economic opportunities in that community. I mean, is there something with all the people that we mentioned, the Jay-Z's of the world, the athletes, all the affluence that we have, and just companies in general? Is it possible to do that, or have they just not taken time to create a plan for that, a real plan?
Well, for economic opportunities, right? I think those who can bring certain resources and jobs and things of that sort. The issue is that crime is so high, and then move crime out the way. Financially, it's not great to move a company here. Illinois has the highest taxes in the country. We even our mayor just tried to move forward a head tax that just failed. We're not business friendly. And so, when you have social justice leaders that are elected that have never known money or never done anything with money, that fight folks with opportunities, it's hard to bring them in, and that's essentially what's happened. Like, you got to have a balance of social justice and understanding of economics. In these neighborhoods, truthfully, again, back to the priority, they deserve more than they're getting. I mean, when they've been walking past the same abandoned buildings for decades, the school buildings that the migrant shelters were in, those school buildings were teaching Black kids in 2013. And when they were shut down in 2013, those school buildings lay vacant in our communities all of this time. And so now, 10 years later, hey, y'all, we got some migrant money, and we're going to put these migrants in the school buildings that we closed 10 years ago, even though the community said, well, we want, some manufacturing here, or a community center, or a grocery store. We want something with these buildings. They never did it. But then the migrant agenda happened, and they used those buildings for migrants. So you can see what their priority is when they treat the communities like, they're third world countries, and they choose not to invest in them. That's truly what's happening in Chicago.
So you believe that this is a state and local issue for the most part, that can help fix this problem. And so,
Yep.
what is some of the tangible things the community can do right now to protect the mothers and the children, since the system is failed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, the communities can step up, and they can start to band together for many different ways. I believe that, one, we got to create economic power, which is why my company Generational Green helps folks own their homes so that they can have more of a stake on their block, or we help folks open up businesses, and so we can create thriving business districts, so that we can have economics to be able to pull together and say, hey, we're going to elect our own politicians, right? The issue is, it's just not enough of us that can move in that direction, because so many people in these communities are in survival mode, right? In Chicago, because we're a dictatorship, all of the true money in Chicago is touched by government in some way. And all of that money is, really controlled by the leaders in power, whether it is state or whether it's city or county. And you can't get any of the true money, whether it's in contracts, whether it's, I don't care if it's to clean the schools or cut the grass or whatever. Like, you cannot get that money without being close politically with someone who can give it to you. And so the issue is, we have billions of government dollars flying around to people who are not in the communities, while the communities are starving. So we are forced to try to pick ourselves up. How they always say, pull yourself up where your bootstraps. Well, we don't have the boots. Okay. So we're trying to get the folks who can get the boots up, but it's going to take a way longer time that way. And that's why a leader who can control an insurmountable amount of resources can truly change these communities if they prioritize them.
Jeff, I'll give you the last question.
You talk about a situation that almost appears hopeless. I mean, you've got crime and murder at a high rate, and murder, by the way, is an equal opportunity thing. But if you're famous, obviously they're gonna, push you out there and talk about, you and not the mother, who dies in the alley and who has to wait so long. I want to link up with you and see, if there's some things that we can talk, because it starts with the idea,
Sure.
making change for things that are easy. Everybody wants to run and do that. But you come to Chicago and you're like, oh my God, well, we don't have this, we don't have that. And the things that are hard are the things that we need to take on and challenge, man. And I just want to say, hey, my
Sure.
hat's off to you, for being there. We support you. That's a comment, not a question. So you can respond. So
Hey, well, I appreciate it. We need a lot of help. I really, it hurts me to see the state of our people in this city, truly,
mhm, mhm,
because I know we deserve so much better. And I know how much, billions and billions of dollars this city and state
mhm,
makes. And knowing that there is a segment of people in this city on the south and west sides who truly are living how they're living. They're living like they're in third world country. They're living in survival mode. Their children are dodging bullets. Or, you got kids that don't have parents that's out here with switches, and the schools are the worst, that you can go on. Like, when you can look truly in these communities and see how they're living, you would not believe that you have a north side, or you have a downtown, you have other
mhm,
places that are thriving. People, when they come into Chicago, they go downtown, but if they came into these neighborhoods to see the vacancies, and to see how
mhm,
60% of all the blocks don't have houses on them, they just vacant lots, like, you'd be like, is
mhm,
this still Chicago? We
Mm.
deserve better. You know what I'm saying? And I just truly hope that we get to a point where people are not so focused on whatever is the newest topic of the day, and they actually focused on the true suffering people. Where in the world can 161 people be shot in a month and some change, and it's not a state of emergency? Where in
Mm.
the world can that happen? Just in Chicago. You know what they'll tell you? Well, violence came down a bit last year. Well, we have 416 people killed, over 2,000 shot last year. So basically what they're saying is, well, since 100 less people died from their wounds, we had a good year. No, we got to get this to a point where this is not the epidemic that we're faced with.
I thought it was so important for you to come on and talk about, because we're so bombarded with these national headlines, the Epstein files, which are important, what's happening with ICE. But we cannot forget about what's
mhm,
happening in our
mhm,
Black
Yep.
communities on a day to
Mhm.
day basis.
mhm,
And
Every
that
day.
is getting lost. And so, whether we agree and we could disagree, but at the core, we love our people. And
100%.
so that is important. I want to get to a couple of topics before we let you go. Comments. Mike V says they want Black folks to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but where are the boots and where are the straps?
Yeah.
mhm,
David Youngblood says, I like to see this gentleman on with others from Chicago who defer in what the answers are to the problems. I think that's important too.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do know is that I came across you from one of my college mates.
mhm,
Hmm.
I think it was last year, and something was happening in Chicago. And you have always been there on the front line for the community. And so I just thank you for coming on, and we would love to have you back to continue this conversation on how we help our Black communities.
For sure, anytime. And I thank you guys for amplifying this. This is truly important, and folks are not doing this. So our Black media, we definitely need them to talk about this on their network. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Peace and love. Talk to you soon.
Love everybody.
And there is a young child. There was a toddler in the back of that car when you
mhm.
saw all the bullets riddling the car, and those men, whatever they
Yeah,
hoodlums, jump out and shoot. There was
yeah.
a toddler in the back of the car who was unharmed, but now that child is
It's
motherless,
parentless. Yeah, yeah.
and so that's what's happening in Chicago. These stories are happening all across our country, and they're being forgotten about. But we won't forget them here.
And we have to amplify it. Just as Brother Jamal said, we have to be able to talk about it, because until we do, we have to confront our issues. And I think one of the things that he didn't really go into is that we have to police our own situation. Fathers have to stand up and do what they have to do.
Mhm.
We have to learn how to focus the energy of our kids. Us Gen Xers, as we talked about earlier, we were latchkey kids and we had to figure things out. this new generation of children that are coming up, they need coaching, right? Because life is a terrible thing to live without supervision and guidance. And so, men in the chat or men watching this show, let's make an effort to step up and do our jobs and be there for our families and our kids.
For sure, 100%. I want to do a clarification to somebody in the chat. The William Corporation 9237. He says, if you were a swinger, you're all probably in the Epstein files. I just want to be clear. This is not about what grown folks choose to do. If you a swinger over 21 and you grown and you swinging, that's your business. The problem with the Epstein files is that there are underage kids. Okay. The pedophilia is what's the problem with the Epstein files. It's not grown folks in dresses, grown men in dresses. It's not grown men in bed together with grown women. This is about taking advantage of underage kids. And I don't know why some men think that that's okay. It's not okay.
There's nothing okay about it. There's nothing okay about it. I mean, if that happens and there's some brothers together and we know you did it, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. You will not leave without getting checked in the worst way. So this goes unchecked, and the administration turns a deaf ear to the victims. And don't make a comment like that. That comment is
underage kids.
It's underage kids that we're talking about.
Okay, it's not about adults.
And I'm a father of 2 daughters. If you touch mine, I'm coming for you. Something happens, I'm coming for you. So that's how most black men think about it. And it's just shameful what's going on.
He said that's how I feel. Well, then you're gross. Okay, you're gross if you think that it's okay for older men and women to take advantage of underage kids.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. Okay.
Hey, he's just trolling. Don't give it no energy. He's just trolling. He's just trying to make you hot.
I think that it should be clear. I'm not hot. I'm just, and we having conversations like, we're just having conversations, but I think it should be noted and it should be said, because you would be surprised, Jeff, at how many people don't have a problem with that, or they don't think that it's wrong. And they need to be called out. It's not okay. If you didn't know, now you know. But let's move on. As we talk about different situations that are happening in our country, we have a midterm coming up this year, Jeff. And it's a lot of people who are jumping in the race. And there is a lot at stake. When we look at it, we're talking about the state of our nation. There's a lot at stake. So I guess that we had on January 6th, I'm talking about former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn. He has said and announced that he is running for Maryland's 5th congressional district. Take a look at this.
I will never forget that day. The shouting, the pounding, the sound of glass breaking, the shattering of American democracy. January 6th was violent, lawless. A lie turned into an attack, and Donald Trump lit the fuse, and he never put the match down. I wore the badge with pride. I trained hard to earn it. As a Capitol Police officer, service came before self. And on January 6th, we held the line. Here's the thing. Lawlessness isn't always a mob. Now it comes with a title, a budget, a badge, a weapon, and lies from behind the podium. We've all seen it. I see the same aggression in ICE agents that I saw from January 6th insurrectionists. Unchecked force, American citizens murdered, and lies to cover it up. That's not safety. It's power without accountability. I once told Congress,
so he
did my
enters.
job.
That's
now
good.
You do yours.
That's good, Greer. So Harry Dunn enters a tight race with at least 6 other Democrat candidates. So that's a packed race. And it's to be noted that he also ran in 2024 for Maryland's 3rd district. But where he came in 2nd. So he did well. It just didn't, go over the top. So when we talk about leadership and experience, this is somebody who understands the landscape that's happening in the DMV. and what's at stake. And so, you see people that are taking their pain and their tragedy and turning it into activism.
Dr. King said, if a man hasn't found something that he's willing to die for, then he's not fit to live. And this speaks to what you just said. He's taking his pain and he's turning it into a cause. He's taking action and he's finally standing up. And, I applaud the brother. I think that we have to go to the polls. We have to vote. We have to be heard, because it's all about math. Everything comes back to the math. We have this many, they have that many, whoever this is for you, it's about the math, and it needs to work out. So, hey, I hope he wins, but I hope that we gain that seat and gain some ground in the House.
That's right. That's right. And in more, when we talk about ICE and things that are happening, when we think it only happens to brown people, or here's one to remind you that it's happening to us too. A U.S. Army veteran who has lived in the U.S. more than 5 decades was deported to Jamaica. And this is according to his family. His name is Godfrey Wade. He's a Jamaican-born lawful permanent resident here in the U.S. and a military veteran. He was taken into ICE custody last year and deported despite appeals from his family and advocates.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say on that. That is that's one of those things where you can be screaming and no one can hear you, right? I'll parallel that with Jane Eugene from Loose Ends, which is a whole nother topic that we're not talking about. She's been held up for 9 months. She's right. Traveling singing, and they take her and they put her in the system, and you can scream, let me out, either send me home or let me stay here. And she's a 70-year-old woman. So I don't know how many of these stories are out there that are unspoken about, but this brother, to be here all this time and to have residency in this country and to be caught up in that situation, to be split from your family and taken back to someplace you haven't lived. Right? He hasn't lived there in.
Right.
Okay. And now they're going to send you back over there. How does that make sense?
Right.
It doesn't.
Right. It doesn't make sense at all. There's another story that we talked about last year about this Morehouse student who played football. He was detained. They just deported him back to Mexico. Morehouse football player. And so, when we have talk about what's happening in Chicago, and we have Jamal Green on, I mean, these are the stories that are not being talked about. So when we talk about, Trump, disregarding Black people, that it's not just the Obamas as, being depicted as apes. It is about the Black issues and experiences in this country that are being suppressed or either being erased. But it's what's happening in Chicago is impacting us all. How does a 1:20 in the afternoon, a shooting with machine guns happen on a community block, and that is not a crisis?
Hey,
that's not a crisis. How is that possible? You know what I'm saying? How is it possible that a Black U.S. veteran is deported? An HBCU student is deported and nobody's talking about it.
Oh, it's possible. There's so many other distractions that they throw out there that are going to make the news cycle. And, we have to be the voice for the voiceless and just continue to just talk about this stuff, because, that's what's needed. We need doctors. We need lawyers. We need people who are going to be activists, people who can write bills, who can galvanize people and stand up. We need economic support in our own communities so that we can be there. ICE come roll up in the wrong place. This brother should be here. Right
there
now.
He is right there. After months in ICE detention, Morehouse alum is deported to Mexico.
Hey, you try and dehumanize people by calling them domestic terrorists or unlawful citizens, and that makes it okay. But this is what's up. That ape suit that they put on Barack Obama and Sister Michelle, when you see that, and when I see it, he tried to put that suit on me. He's putting that suit on you right now.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel it personally, allow my words to echo in your head. He put that ape suit on you. So that's what he thinks about you. Okay.
That's facts. David Youngblood says it's all about race, every bit of it. And so when we see these stories, it's up to us. I don't know if you know, Jeff, but the Black Press turns 199 years today. I mean, not today, this year.
This year. Okay.
This year we turned 199. And so when we talk about these stories and amplifying them, we have to be very careful that we keep our stories at the center. And so when we're talking about these stories today, I'm not seeing them anywhere else. I'm not seeing them being amplified. And I think we should be concerned about that, because we only make up 13% of the population in the United States. Yet every time we talk about a catastrophe or something detrimental, we're always at least 30% in, but we only 13% of the population.
Yeah.
And so we have to be very careful as to what we intake and what we learn about ourselves and about what's happening with the plight of Americans in this country, Black Americans in this country.
But they're hoping that you are exhausted. They're hoping that everyone gets tired and they don't want to see another story. Of, if I talk to people, they're like, oh man, don't bring me down with this. I don't want to hear this right now. They're hoping and they're believing that more people will get exhausted and not want to deal with it, so they can keep on with the same old thing because they know you're tired. Well, don't get tired. Let's not get tired. Let's continue. It will amplify the stories, but real plans. What are we going to do?
Yeah, well, Mike V brought it up earlier, and I think that we could be. What I don't want to be is so much of a talking head. I want to bring the news that's been missing. But Mike V brought it up. Where is our project 2026? Like, where is our plan?
28. Yeah.
Oh, what did I say? 2026?
Yeah.
Oh, but we need a plan now, though. We can't wait. We can't wait to 2028. We cannot wait. And I think that's the problem with Democrats right now. They're waiting. Everything that we're talking about should be an ad from the Democrats as to what they're going to do, or the independents or whoever. Somebody needs to counter what has happened with the Republicans and all this implementation that they're doing.
Well, I have to believe
where is it?
I have to believe that somewhere they're making a plan, right? But it's just like a boxing match. If I walk up to you and I tell you I'm gonna hit you in your mouth in 3 seconds, you're gonna develop a defense for that and block, right? So maybe there is a plan. Maybe we haven't seen it yet, but it's something that we don't have to. It's something that we don't want to have to talk about. We don't want to telegraph the punch. So I just have to believe that the powers that be are working on something, and if they're not, you need to be.
Okay, let's say that you need to be. David Youngblood says, I am no ways tired. All right, let's lighten it up a little bit. Or I don't know if it is, but I don't know if you heard, but Aaron Hall from Guy had been missing. Okay, just disappeared for about a year. So after a year-long search, he has been located and served legal papers that are tied to a civil lawsuit alleging sexual assault dating back to 1990. Now, the suit also names Diddy as a co-defendant, and all parties are denying the allegations. Now, he was found in Georgia at an extended stay hotel. So now we'll see what happens. I don't know why he was hiding if he don't have nothing to hide, but he's been found and served.
Aaron Hall, man. Hey, I know Aaron, and Aaron is Aaron. I mean, he's, you guys have seen him. What you see is what you get. I just hope that things, work out. I don't like the fact that what he's being charged with, or it's a civil lawsuit, right? So it's really just about money. It's not like he's going to jail.
Well, that's how it happened with Diddy. It started with cut the check, and he didn't cut the check, and guess what happened?
Hey, he was looking for a gas pedal to push. He went and hid and posted up at the hotel, and sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. You can't outrun a subpoena.
And now, what I've heard, he can't make any money because Teddy Riley had made the announcement that he has replaced Guy members, and he's going out on tour with Guy minus the Hall brothers.
Wow. Well, but he's been doing that. Teddy's been performing without them for years. So,
but he made it official. Well, I just saw them with New Edition in Vegas a year ago. So they had got back together, And now Teddy, I guess, is like,
Hey, I just wish my brothers well, Damien and Aaron. They've always been friends. I just, I'm pulling for you. Maybe it's not true. I hope it's not true, and I just hope it works out. I hate to see bad things happen to good people.
In heartbreaking news, rapper Lil Jon has confirmed the death of his son, Nathan Smith, also known as DJ Young Slade. He was found in Georgia after going missing. So we just want to send our love and strength to the king of crunk, Lil Jon. He definitely made a post about it. Just his son as an infant, and he was like, "This one really hurts." So we lift him up in prayer.
Wow, that's painful.
Very painful. And so last story, I thought that this might interest you because you are the man of radio. A Phoenix radio station is launching the first all AI on-air lineup. Now, this comes 2 years after AI Ashley sparked debate. So Zulus Media Group has flipped 94.9 The Zone to debut the all AI jock-powered radio station licensed by voice models. What do you think about AI DJs?
AI is coming for everybody. It's coming for you, right? It's in the music. If you're making music, you're probably listening to some AI music. But now you've gone too far. Now you're messing with my thing. Okay, so I'm still the voice of a lot of commercials for concerts around the country. I've done the New Edition concert. Actually, you talked about Guy, Keith Sweat. You heard my voice on a lot of things in stores now. Get your tickets today. You can't replace me. Stop trying to replace this right here. Okay, so I think a lot of jocks, in all seriousness, it's a.
Is it scary?
It's a scary thing. I'm not in radio every day anymore, but it dilutes the fact that we actually have talent, that we actually have personalities, and AI is. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna send ICE over to AI. It's almost time to do that and let them get checked that way.
But I think it was the president of Google or one of those app companies or AI companies that was saying that these AIs are beginning to take form and personality. They're adopting things that weren't initially trained for them to do. So they're becoming their own personality. So I mean, maybe these AI jocks are going to develop, personalities from other people, which I think is the problem. Yeah. I think that is the problem.
Hey, tell them to come to the club, okay, and get on the mic out there. They can't do it. I'm done.
David Youngblood says AI is coming no matter what. We're replacing the wagon with a car. Okay. Okay, so we have some Black history facts coming before we go out, and I'm talking about two authors and an important moment in Black history. So in 1944, Pulitzer Prize winning author and activist was born in Eatonton, Georgia. And then in 1953, Ralph Ellison became the first African American to win the National Book Award for fiction with his debut novel, The Invisible Man. Okay, so there are your two novels, two authors, and then your history moment, which kind of ties into everything we've been talking today. In 1965, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. met with President Lyndon B. Johnson to discuss voting rights for African Americans. And this morning we saw a lot of people say, don't boo, vote. I can't wait to vote. Yeah. And that moment is the reason why voting was federalized, right? And so now we're looking at it going back to the power of the states, and it's going to really hurt Black people in red states. And so today we remember that historic moment in 1965 where Dr. Martin Luther King advocated for voting rights.
Man, what a moment that was. What a man he was to be able to stand up for us in that way and to give his life for some of the freedoms we have right now. So Dr. King, much love for everything that you have done for us, and may that inspire more of us to step up and do things. A lot of us, after we watched our leaders fall, We, Dr. King, Malcolm X, different people who were either attacked, threatened along the way. That discourages people to want to get out there and get in that smoke. But we have to be there for their protection. We have to be there with our support as a community because we need you. And, that's kind of what we're doing with this show. Thank you for having me up here. This is really cool.
I'm glad to have you. Thanks for joining us. We would love to have you back. And so have a good day, y'all. And tomorrow, Dr. Wes Bellamy will be riding shotgun, talking about a lot of the HBCU stories and some of the historical monuments that are trying to be erased in our country. So he'll be with us tomorrow, but continue to celebrate 100 years of Black history. And before I let you go, what is your Black newspaper in your city that you read? Jeff?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. What's your Black newspaper?
There's only one. It's called the Sentinel newspaper.
All right.
That's the one I read, the LA Sentinel. And it's been around forever, and it's not going anywhere. Much love to to Danny Bakewell. Okay.
He's a doctor. He's a doctor.
Danny
I thought Bakewell I heard it right. All right. And so we're celebrating 199 years of Black newspaper. Jeff Gill reads the LA Sentinel. I read the LA Sentinel. I also like the LA Focus. That's where I get my Black church news. But wherever you are, support your Black newspaper. And for the latest in Black news, visit blackpressusa.com. We'll see you tomorrow.